Hi, and welcome to Seen and Heard. My name is Allison Tristao, and I'm the Community Field Representative with Western United Dairies. Today we have Woods Field Representative Kyle Lutz on to talk about DTaP, so let's get into it.
Hi folks, hope you had a great week. The major buzz in the dairy markets was all about the milk production report released this week for July. U.S. figures came in at down 0.5% year over year. That's the weakest showing we've seen since May of 2022. The major regions that got hit was the Southwest. Once again, output there dropped 4.4%. Tight margins and some heat definitely took its toll on output in that region. Likewise with California, coming in at down 5.5%, which was a little bit bigger than expected. That was the biggest annual drop we've seen since 2015. Definitely tight margins, definitely some heat we felt in July, as well as a really tough year-over-year comparison. Last July's production was pretty robust, so we had a hard target to beat, but that probably accounted for only about 2% of that decline. Interestingly enough, the major decline in California and across the U.S. was on the back of milk per cow. While we were down about 2,000 head in California, it was milk per cow that really got hit. So that's suggesting, instead of it being entirely structural at this point, it is a bit seasonal. So it will be interesting to see once we move past summer if that could come back at all. Meanwhile, while California has been spared the heat here this last week, thankfully, in late August, our friends in the Midwest certainly felt some really hot temperatures. We're hearing spot milk in the Midwest definitely tightened up some depending on where you're located. The other major report we got for the week was the cold storage report. Butter was pretty neutral. Cheese, however, aired a little bit bullish in that stocks declined at a little bit more aggressive rate than normal. But you can think back to June when we really bottomed out at those low cheese prices. Certainly that spurred some demand. We pulled some inventories out in July, both domestic as well as some export sales that were said to be booked at those lower prices. And that is certainly why we saw cheese rebound by over 60 cents in just about a month's time. Moving forward, it will be all about those cheese exports and whether we can keep shipments going. We're hearing that there were some booked through September, but beyond that, still a little bit unknown. And meanwhile, we did hear of a little bit more cheese availability out in the countryside. So we came down a little bit midweek this week. However, we closed higher here on Friday, blocks up to 194.50, barrels at 180. Butter closed the week at $2.67, still quite elevated, though we were down 3 cents for the week. Non-fat market is a little under pressure. We are sitting around $1.10 there. While output hit in California certainly would suggest less non-fat production, it's really that weak demand for Oceania product, specifically out of China, that kind of keeps raining on our parade there in the powder markets. So those are definitely some conflicting fundamentals that we're watching closely in the months ahead. If you participate in the Dairy Revenue Protection Program, keep in mind that deadline to get fourth quarter coverage is coming up now, here September 15th. Please reach out if you have any questions.
Pacific Gas and Electric is here to remind you that signs keep you safe. Sections of our natural gas transmission pipeline travel underground and beneath agricultural land. For the safety of you, your family, and your employees, pipeline markers are placed to indicate the approximate location of the pipe as a reminder to use extra care. Removing a pipeline marker creates a serious safety hazard. To have additional markers placed or report damaged or missing markers, please call your PG&E account manager or our agricultural customer service center at 877-311-3276. To learn more, visit www.pge.com/agsafety. Remember, signs keep you safe.
Are you tired of hearing that the main way to save water is fallowing? Are you tired of seeing articles about how alfalfa and corn waste water? At Common Good Water, we combine the best-in-class subsurface drip system and precision crop management services, including pest control. Our verification program qualifies for public funding, and we want to help you continue farming in California. Contact your groundwater sustainability agency and ask how you can work with Common Good Water. Visit commongoodwater.com.
So we have Kyle with us here today. Kyle, can you kind of give a summary of what DTaP is?
Hi, everyone. So DTaP stands for the Dairy Technical Assistance Program, funded by California Cattle Council. And we help dairy farmers navigate the regulatory burdens that they deal with on a daily basis.
What services have you been providing lately?
So lately, we've been answering a lot of dairy farmer questions regarding water board requirements, questions about general waste discharge permits, and groundwater sampling requirements. In addition to questions about riparian areas, which don't affect every dairy farmer and don't affect every water board. And we've also been providing a lot of direct assistance to dairy farmers in Northern California with water quality documentation reports. We've seen a strong need for DTaP services, more so in Northern California, but there's been encouragingly a lot of interest throughout the state, and been really enjoying working to build new relationships with new people, new dairies, and helping them with their questions and whatever issues that they're incurring, and try to do my part to help them navigate these regulatory burdens so that they can live their lives and run their dairies in peace.
So is DTaP available to all dairymen or only Western United Dairies members?
So DTaP is available to every dairy in the state of California, regardless of size, trade group affiliation, milk processor, or anything like that. So if you're a dairy in California and you have questions and you think I can help you, I encourage you to reach out. I'm excited to work with anyone and everyone.
So Kyle, what has been the biggest question that you've gotten recently or the biggest challenge that you've seen?
So June specifically was a very busy month. And one of the biggest questions that I've been asked in June and in July and a little bit throughout this year is farmers have been trying to understand exactly what they're obligated to do in terms of groundwater sampling requirements and what's going to make the water board happy, and then what measures they need to take to fulfill those requirements.
And that varies from water board to water board, correct?
It does. It does. Each water board in California has slightly different rules and regulations. It's based on what each specific regional water board has in their general order.
So Kyle, how can people get a hold of you?
If you're interested in reaching out to me, please feel free to do so at Kyle, Kyle, at wudairies.com.
Alrighty, Kyle. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. Do you have anything else you'd like to leave the producers with?
No, but thank you for having me. And if you're a farmer listening or know a farmer that could use some assistance with what I've talked about today, please reach out to me.
Thanks, Kyle, for coming on the podcast, and thank you to those who are listening. If you'd like a notification when a new episode releases, you could subscribe to the podcast. Have a good week.
Yosemite Farm Credit is the farmer's choice for agriculture financing. As a farmer-owned cooperative, we are dedicated to serving our neighbors in the agriculture community with financial products and services tailored to your operation and backed with a relationship you can trust. Whether you're purchasing real estate, making improvements to the dairy, or wanting to purchase or lease equipment, we're here to help our members prosper. Visit our website at YosemiteFarmCredit.com to find a branch location nearest you.
Did you know that you can turn your dairy manure into cash? Bennett Environmental is offering above-ground dairy digesters at no cost to you. These systems can also remove nitrates from your lagoons to help you comply with water board regulations. Our proven above-ground technology will generate income for your dairy into the foreseeable future. Because we truck the renewable natural gas off-site, your dairy can profit regardless of your location. Bennett Environmental, turning your wastewater liabilities into sustainable assets. Learn more at bennett-environmental.com.
Thank you to the Western United Dairies generous business sponsors, the Morning Star Company, Holt of California, Farm Credit Alliance, PG&E, Arata, Swingle, Van Egmond and Goodwin Law Offices, Yosemite Farm Credit, F&R Ag Services, Moss Energy Works, California Dairy Magazine, Bennett Environmental, and Common Good Water. We appreciate our sponsors and thank them for their continued support. While Western United Dairies respects the varied views of our guests, please note that the opinions expressed in the Seen and Heard podcast may not necessarily reflect the positions of the Western United Dairies Board of Directors or our sponsors. If you would like more information on how to sponsor Western United Dairies or this podcast, please send us an email at info@wudairies.com.